working on the port side now. Originally I said that I might put in a icebox here next to the sink, but I've changed plans. What I intend to do is put a set of drawers on one side and then just a cabinet door on the other side. In the back, and to make the drawers even possible, I built a small storage area here, and this is going to have a door on it. So the slides for the drawers will come this way and attach to the face of this. And here is the detail on the drawer slides, starting with first these two vertical pieces, there and there, and then the slides themselves, which are just a piece of teak slotted about maybe about 3/8, maybe about a 1/4 inch or so on both sides. And then I built these rough drawer boxes. And the detail on these is such that the sides are all made of teak. I bought an old teak picnic table at the beginning of this refit, and I've been using that for the wood. But the bottom is a piece of thin, about a little less than 1/4 inch Luan board, and the box is epoxy to that. And what happens here is the drawer kind of goes into those slots like that and just goes in, slides in and out, and actually it's a very nice fit. I do lose a minimal amount of storage space having drawers rather than shelves, but I think things are a lot more accessible in the long run. And here are all three drawers fitted. All slide very nicely. Of course, they will all get a teak face to go along with the trim, teak trim that'll go here, and then a teak door here. And here is the teak face, temporarily mounted. Here's the side, starboard side. Next, I fitted the drawer fronts on both sides. Cabinet door fitted on both sides. And now I've attached the drawer faces and hung the cabinet doors, as well as installed these brass latches, which look really nice. So that's it for this part. Everything will get varnished with all the other cabinetry that I'm working on at the end. I've stripped out the shelf and the storage area next to the quarter berth to do some woodworking and cabinetry or sliders in there. So I've made these tracks out of about a 1-inch teak. So just slotted like that. Epoxied together some doors here, or rather sliders. These need to be sanded and varnished. So that's just kind of wedged in there. I want to see how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Each door will slide to the middle to access that one over there. So I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. I'm going to now try to see if I can find a way to attach it before varnishing. And here is the port side, fitted in there. I put in the divider here for the storage behind the sink. Also dividers, that one's missing, in there. I've got another one here. For the stereo here, I'm going to be removing that. Probably build a storage area on this bulkhead here and integrate stereo into that in a later project. So that's pretty much it for the rough construction. Now I just need to sand everything down, including the thing that I removed here, and lots and lots of varnishing. And now, 7 weeks later, everything is varnished. And the actual varnishing didn't take that long, less than a week, of course. The issue here, part of what took me so long, is the last minute addition of the teak on those two pieces and the countertop here to match the chart table. And originally I had bought some veneer off of eBay. When I received it, it looked terrible. Returned it, exchanged it. Received another one, looked equally terrible. Eventually just went to a exotic lumber establishment in Annapolis, Maryland, and hand selected this lovely one-sided teak. It's actually plywood, not veneer, one-sided plywood. And it came out really nice, I think. So a little more detail. These new compartments all functioning great. These little knobs to match the other ones. One's a little soft. Yep. I really like the way this piece here hits the border and kind of encloses the cushion here. So these, of course, lots of space in there. So the countertop is being held by, of course, the molding here, the fiddle molding. This little piece here, which is screwed in to the cabinet. And of course the sink and the faucet. As for the faucet, like I said, I'm going to utilize the one that came with the boat. It's an electric faucet. I'd like to put in a manual, preferably a fin spray brass model. If anyone's watching this and has one and wants to get rid of it, please let me know. But this is all hooked up. It obviously works. Can't test it out because it is the middle of winter and below freezing, and I do not want to fill the water tanks to fill that. Over on the other side here, on the starboard side, of course, got the molding, latch, my lovely inlay, access to the stove, and just open it up like that. So I ended up lining this as well as the inside of the compartment here with stainless steel, and I did get that from an old barbecue grill, barbecue grill lid, I should say, that I had saved. So took care of that. Another addition was I ended up making the icebox back here. And this was a moderately complicated. So I first lined it with reflective foam. Then I took FRP panels from Home Depot, relatively cheap, and put those in there, kind of just really laid them in there, and then caulked the seams with 5200 and then painted that. And I think it came out great. I also put in some molding here, left over from another project, and I think that looks really good. Okay, moving back to the port side, all of the drawers, of course, varnished and functioning great. Already filling that with junk. Oh, there we go. Back there, I don't think you can see it, but I did put a door on that little compartment back there. It's quite a bit of storage in here. Kind of hard to see. Yeah, so water tank with the drawers removed. Here's the water tank. Let's see the pump here. outlet. And I put a Y in there to go over to the other side water tank on the starboard side. And that goes up to a vent. That's the fill. Here under the starboard side, this is the water tank. You can see the air which connects to the other one, and the that's where the water comes out. Also fills it from the other side because there's a vent. I have a shut-off valve. And one of the reasons I went with saddle tanks here was to keep the boat balanced, of course, and I can put a valve in between them, which is what I did. Also, having that valve in there, I can shut one off in case to keep one intact if one became ever contaminated. And also there was the expense. These 10-gallon tanks were very inexpensive, under $40 each, compared to close to $200 from other sources, and they are food grade, so happy with this so far. And here's the connection where the two tanks meet. So there is this little valve here actually closes off, allows me to drain the tanks or one of them, depending on whether the valve's open or shut, right into the deep part of the bilge, and I can just pump that out by hand or with the electric pump. Makes cleaning a lot easier, that's for sure. And lastly is the sliders, which essentially all I did was take them apart, sand them down, and varnish them. I did change the track, bottom and top. The other one was in bad shape, and this is a darker color. I think it looks good. And if you step back, you can notice, maybe not, there's a bit of a slant here, or at least the sliders are on kind of a slant, and that's because this cushion was originally lower here. And I raised it to accommodate the sliders up here to make this all the same size, even though it's actually on a slant inside. So did that on both sides. Other than that, a few more details remaining. Need to varnish these retaining boards, also the handrails. Put in my gauges there, barometer and a clock. Originally were stacked here, but put one on each side to better balance it aesthetically. And also, I mentioned I have a foot pump. I am going to be putting that probably right about here at a later date, and it's actually right here. I just need to rebuild it because it's leaking. There's the faucet, and also plumb it to the area that feeds the toilet. Not always a good idea to run more than one line off of a seat cock, but it is common practice, and I've never had any problems before. So, and one final word on the aesthetics of the addition of all this teak. I, for one, was never a big fan of a lot of wood, or actually I should say a lot of dark wood, but I think that's probably more applicable to oiled teak, which is a very dark brown. I think the fact that I varnished these, everything here has 9 to 10 coats of Interlux schooner, and followed up with gold spar satin, and it gives it a nice amber color, you know, and it obviously changes the amount of light that you have. I'm under a tarp, so not a whole lot of light other than what I'm shining here. But yeah, I'm very happy with the way this turned out, and the only drawback here is it's going to be very painful when I start getting scratches and gouges, you know, particularly in the countertop here. So you know, it's a small boat, but it looks great. And the ceiling, I'm not going to do any wood or anything like that. But speaking of the ceiling, one of the questions I invariably get is about headroom from people who are interested in these boats. And I'm 5'10", maybe 5'11" if I stretch, and this is me at the companionway hump. My head's hitting, maybe a little slightly tilted, and standing in front of the galley here. I'm slouched with my head down. So it goes without saying that sitting is probably the best way to utilize the interior. Not going to be doing any jumping jacks.
I made this.